So admission requirements. 4-year bachelor's degree from an accredited institution. Right. Excuse me. Or a 3-year plus grade 13, a BA, or any post-diploma program which required a bachelor's degree. Now, that is, that's a lot. So the best way to describe it is if you have a 3-year degree, if you have a 4-year degree, you're fine. If you have a 3-year degree and you have, completed something beyond that, contact us, we'll work through it, we'll take a look and see what's going on, and then you may have to take a class or two or somehow finish it up. Who knows? I've seen a lot of different scenarios happen in Ontario. So it's just best to, call Vicki or myself or Melissa, and then we'll take it from there. The minimum GPA is a 2.7 or higher on a 4.0 scale, roughly an 80% or higher. I know people that went to Queens said, oh no, that's not how we work, we're on a 100-point scale, but a B's like a 60%, so we do take into account the, depending on what university you went to. Now, if you were like many people at the age of 18 and 19 and your studies at the time weren't necessarily your highest priority, which it wasn't for all of us, there is a way to get conditional admission if you fall below that 2.7. And really what they're looking for is that you're tracking in your professional career, towards a certain level of responsibility, right? So if you've been working for 5 to 10 years and you've shown growth in an organization and you're handling all these responsibilities, well then you probably have most likely, and in most cases, more than what it takes in order to be successful, right? So, but we do need a couple of things, and that's resume, that letter of intent that I referenced earlier, 2 references, and then any postgraduate studies that you may have done. And what will happen is you get 3 courses or 9 credits. You have to maintain above a 3.0 in those classes. If you do, then you get full admission, and then you just breeze right through the program, right? What we have primarily found, those that come in under conditional admission perform better than those that get regular admission because they have something to prove. And that's actually true. So, some important information to keep in mind. There's pre-class and post-class assignments. Because you're only meeting for those 3 weekends, they want to make sure that first weekend you come in, you're hitting the ground running, right? So, as I mentioned, you'll get your syllabus and textbooks in your last class before your next class, and you'll have to read the first 3 chapters and write a 1-page reflection paper, on how that topic pertains to your job and how you see you're moving forward in that class. That's just an example. There's a lot of different pre-class assignments. But it really is to get you to start thinking about, what the conversation is going to be like and how things are going to transpire. Very, very rarely will you sit like this in class. The vast majority of the time it's a U, or it's a circle, or it's a square where all the tables are in the middle and you just sit around. Because you're going to be learning almost as much from your fellow classmates as you will from the professor. The professor is going to bring you theory, right, and a lot of real-world experience, but everybody in this room has expertise in some area, right? And you have something to teach somebody else. And so you will be learning a lot from your fellow classmates, and that'll be demanded of you. There's nowhere to hide in these master's programs. When you come in, you better be ready to participate. But that's a good thing. It brings a lot out of people. And you'll become, I tell you, I know this is another one of those things. I'm standing here to, tell you the good things, right? You will have friends that you will know for the rest of your life as a result of it. Because you'll spend the next 2.5 to 3 years, every 2 weekends together. So, every 3rd weekend together. And you really do get to know each other very well. The group that I met with, I graduated 2.5 years ago. We still meet once a month to once every other month at a different establishment, as we call them, in the greater Grand Rapids area. And a lot of it is just to get back into that stimulating conversation of, what you guys used to talk about. It's fun. It's just a lot of fun. You have 7 years to complete the program. Okay. Again, it's 2.5 to 3 years. So, but let's say you miss a class here, miss a class there, never finish your capstone project. Just remember you have 7 years in total, and then classes start dropping off, and you got to retake them. And then it's $446 a credit hour in U.S. dollars. Excuse me. So you have 3 credits per course. So that's what?
Plus tax.
No tax.
Well, that's a good thing.
We also work with you to fill out your TI-80. Does that make sense to anyone? I don't remember what the form number is. But so you get the tax deferment for tuition because we're approved by the ministry. So that's how we can get that offered to the students. So you send in your application online. There's also a paper one in those packets if you're so inclined. It just takes longer to go through that process. There is a $50 application fee, and that is to reserve your spot. Because, you know, we have 15 or so people here today, depending on how many we have this afternoon. And then we give first priority to Lambton people through the end of the year, okay, so through January 1st. And then after that, we open it up to Fanshawe and St. Clair and SC4 and the hospital system. We usually have, you know, a handful that come from the healthcare system, as well as if there's military around here, and I'm not sure, we'll have to check on that, but provincial police departments, a lot of just, you know, the K-12 district school system, they'll always comprise, you know, probably 10 to 20% of the entire class, which actually adds, again, to that breadth and diversity of knowledge, so that's a good thing. And we need official transcripts from the university that you graduated from, okay? They can't be photocopied or written in crayon. So this is the last one of those, and this is somebody who I've had an ongoing dialogue with. We both work closely in marketing online entities, and they're both services actually, which there's product side, service side, right? Education is a service, not a product. And so we've been talking back and forth consistently for a while, and it's been very fascinating getting to know Steve. But this is for somebody who doesn't necessarily work in the education field, how it pertains to them, which wouldn't necessarily pertain to all of you. And that's it. Any questions?